Hey, 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 good morning, good morning. How is everybody today on this beautiful Friday? My name is Justin. I am one of the co-founders of SiteSwan, and I'm very excited to do this with you today. It's an Ask Me Anything, wide open session. Whatever questions you guys got, bring them. Some of you were nice enough to post the questions ahead of time. That's super awesome. I'll make sure I get to those first as long as you're here. And even if you're not here, I think I'm going to prioritize that because that shows me that you really want your question answered. Even though you guys are present, I want to make sure everyone's questions get answered today. So, questions tab. Find the questions tab. That's where you're going to communicate with us during our chat. I have not one, but two moderators helping me answer questions today. So if it's super, super simple and easy, like, hey, we have a support ticket on it, whatever, they're going to chime in, get you pointed in the right direction. If it is something that goes a little bit beyond just a very straightforward answer, they're going to force me to answer it, and then I will. So that'll be the format for today. Questions tab, and I want to get you accustomed to using the questions tab by just doing a couple of things for me real quick. I want to know two things. How long have you been on the platform, and how many sites have you got sold? If you want to also tell me where you're connecting from, that'd be really cool. So city, state, how long you've been with us, whether it's days, months, years, decades, and the number of sites that you have live that you've sold in your account. Let's see. Tom coming in hot with some questions. I like it. Sean. Howdy. David. I recognize your name, David. I have a feeling you were on a while back and then you came back to us. Is that correct? Tamara, good to see you again. Jacksonville. Oh, wow. Guys, Tamara. Sorry, I'm not good at this. Tamara, since she's been with us since May, that's June, July, August, 3 months. 21 websites. 21 websites sold. Heck of a job, Tamara. That is awesome. Tammy, we'll go with Tammy. Renee's here. Don't put a frowny face with 4 sites, Renee. There is nothing to frown about with 4 sites. Tammy is kicking some butt and taking names. It does not mean that you should feel any different about your efforts. Never compare yourself to anybody else. Only compare yourself to the previous version of yourself. Okay? Don't you dare. Lisa is connecting from Metro Atlanta, partnering with your son. All right, just signed up last Friday. Welcome, Lisa, and your son. Ryan is chiming in with a question from Buffalo, but normally in Vegas. You're visiting Buffalo. Well, I guess, you know what? This is the time of year to visit Buffalo. Definitely don't go in the wintertime. I don't even know if you can travel in Buffalo in the wintertime. Let's see. Dustin from Provo, Utah. 1 month, 2 sales. Way to go. Meyer, welcome back. 31 deals on the books, 2 in the funnel. Love to see that. Averial in Fort Myers. Been here almost a month, sold 5 sites. Nice. At $700 setup fee, $50 to $189 a month retainer. And I invited a good friend. She's now a member of SiteSwan. Thank you so much for that. That is awesome. Fuss has got a question. We will get to that. Ed has got a question also. We will talk about. You asked about ideal directories. We shall talk. Albert just got his third client today. Getting more people interested. Dan from Pembroke Pines, Florida. Been with us for a year. 35 active clients. Love it. Brian's got 3 sites sold. Troy has got a question. Love it. Lisa's got a question. Sean's from Moreno Valley, California, with 8 websites sold. 4 sold this week. $700 setup fees. Sorry, $697 setup fees. Averil's friend has a site sold his first week with SiteSwan. Love to hear it. All right. I'll read one more introduction. Barry from New Hampshire signed up this week, going through the training. No customers yet. Has a question. I cannot wait to get to it. All right. So I love this. I love this. This gives me energy. You guys are all here on a Friday morning. Let's get your questions answered. So we have folks who have submitted questions before. They're relatively quick. I'm going to go through them, and then we're going to pound away at these questions. So the questions I got ahead of time came from, I think, 5 or 6 different people. By the way, there's about 30-something of you here right now, which I think says a lot. So Sharon had asked, can the program do pop-up windows? So Sharon, built into the platform, we don't have functionality for pop-ups. Why? Quite frankly, because it sounds like a simple thing. There's a lot there, and there are people who have basically mastered and done an amazing job with pop-ups that you can do a million different things with. So we leave it to them. One of my go-tos for pop-ups, and look, pop-ups kind of get a bad rap, but they can be helpful. Like on our site, we do have a pop-up somewhere that encourages people to sign up for the demo. A lot of you guys probably clicked on it when you before you got started with us. I don't even know where the heck it is right now. It should have popped up by now. Anyway, we use a service called Get Site Control, and we have a link to it from the resources section of our dashboard. As a matter of fact, I believe we do. Let's find out. I think we actually give you a couple of different options. All right, so we have, all right, so ElfSite also does it. Power also does it. And do we have a link to Get Site Control? We don't. But they do it too. GetSiteControl.com. Renee says, tell us about yourself. Well, Renee, I'm co-founder of SiteSwan. I don't know what you want to know about me, but I will say this. I do have a website that I decided to build on a platform. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this. It's called SiteSwan, I believe. So actually today or tomorrow, I'll be posting some podcast that I've been interviewed on, where I do get asked questions about myself that I feel forced to answer. I don't particularly like talking about myself, but somewhere over here is going to be a link for that at some point, I think today or tomorrow. So if you guys want to just check back there, Renee especially. Ryan says, can you talk about, once the site is built, how to properly make sure the back end, maybe even back end things are done? I was looking for a video I remember watching on the training page, but I cannot find it. So the back end things, not sure exactly what that means, but what we do have is we talk about how to onboard clients and launch a site right here in this training video. That might be what you're referring to. And then I'll also recommend that you go through our, let me find it, website launch checklist. This is a very helpful document that I recommend you go through to ensure that you've crossed all your I's. Nope. Crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's. Kevin is saying, please answer my questions, even if you can, even though, okay. So Kevin has a bunch of questions. I'm going to see which ones I can answer very efficiently. I don't think Kevin's here, but I want to make sure I address these. So Kevin's saying, will SiteSwan soon implement a sub menu heading for navigation? For example, main menu heading, commercial HVAC. Subheadings would be heating, air conditioning, ventilation, and then subheadings would be individual heating services, which is under heating, individual air conditioning services under air conditioning, and same for ventilation. So I don't have any plans for this that I've seen in our development. When it comes to a tertiary navigation, not secondary, but tertiary, it's so uncommonly used and quite frankly, a little difficult to navigate. Like I hate even going to like oldnavy.com and having to navigate 3 levels just to find like shirts, you know, I go to men and then tops and then shirts. Like it's like, just make this easier for me. And it's not like you're going to have that many options, right? It's not like your HVAC guy is a Old Navy. So what I'd recommend doing is just having people go to that main subcategory of heating, and then you will list all of those things that you're doing, individual heating services. I don't think stacking up a navigation menu is the right choice for a typical small business. And especially if, let's be honest, you're talking about an HVAC company, right? So I think you're thinking, well, we have residential and then commercial HVAC. I wouldn't even do that because technically your residential and commercial, the same services, like you're still going to offer heating, air conditioning, ventilation under commercial at the same you would in residential, more or less. So I think having that many levels for just basically an HVAC site seems like a bit much. Question number 2 is for this HVAC website I'm doing. I wanted my header to have the logo on the left, navigation on the right, but I had so many navigation headings that it created a second row on the right, making the header taller and not centered vertically on the logo. That's your problem. Just too many. There's no reason why you can't fit everything you need to on the navigation with just one level of drop downs. If we could do it on SiteSwan.com, you could do it. So don't get jammed up with cluttering up your navigation. It's often not necessary. Third question is, can you add a different slug to your pages other than it being the page name? So his example is, can you have like an HVAC site / gas furnace repair? What about if instead it was gas furnace repair, Aberdeen, Maryland? Okay, I guess because you want to start getting found for search results in Aberdeen, Maryland. So no, you can't modify it. Technically, there is kind of a hack for that, but it doesn't really work that way. So no, and here's the truth. You don't need to have your page named that way in order to get good search results for gas furnace repair in Aberdeen, Maryland. You just don't need to. And if you really wanted to focus on that, it doesn't okay, so what am I trying to say? Let's talk about SEO for a second, right? You're clearly looking to get found for gas furnace repair, Aberdeen, Maryland. Okay? If that's the only town that you want to focus on, then just make sure that your gas furnace repair page of your site is referencing Aberdeen, Maryland, exactly the way all of our themes work. If you were somehow trying to beat the system and say, oh, well, I want to have gas furnace repair pages for every single town in the 15-town county in Maryland, that's a different thing, not something we always recommend. But if you were going to do that, then I would just still have a main gas furnace repair page and then have links to all of the different areas that you serve with slightly modified content for each of those things. It's overkill in most cases because Google is still only going to give a hoot about the physical location of the HVAC company when they are delivering results for businesses. So despite the fact that you might have a ton of content on the site for all these different towns and cities, it's not necessarily going to you're not going to trick Google into thinking that you're an expert in all these areas if you physically are located in one place. So it's really difficult to get around that. The other question was a feature request. I'm going to pass this on to our development team who can take a look at it. But real quick, the question was, let's say that in the homepage hero section, there's a button that says get a free quote. And my form is further down the same page. Can you have that button once clicked, take the customer down the page to that free quote form? Actually, hold on a second. We have this feature. So in our support.siteswan.com, this is called an anchor link. Okay, if you guys have never done this before, it's kind of cool. is you can make a button on your page scroll down to a different aspect or part of the page. It does require looking at the code, but it's relatively simple to do once you get the hang of it. So you can do that. All right, Jasleen also wrote in saying, how do you sell a website to a restaurant who believes a website isn't necessary since they utilize food delivery apps like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub? What's a convincing pitch to them? So Jasleen, if you're in a situation where you are begging and pleading a specific restaurant to get a website with you, you're probably wasting your energy. Focus on someone else who clearly gets it because they're out there. But if you insist that everyone is thinking this, which they're not, but if that was the case, you can just refer to our document, which is the 5 reasons why every business needs a website. And the truth of it is, it goes way beyond just ordering online for a restaurant. People want to know a lot of other details. They want to see photos. They want to get to know the owners. They want to hear the story. They want to see a photo gallery of what the restaurant experience looks like. And without a website, the business loses control over their entire online presence. They lose control over what it is that people might need and want to get from them when it comes to a solid experience. And I also want you to consider this, okay? And some of the stuff is listed on that document, but I want you to consider this. Hold on a second. I am now struggling with my device. Why did that just switch up and now you can't see me? Hold on. Let's get this fixed. Nope. We'll get it. Don't worry, we'll get it. Sorry about that. So what you can do is this. Why won't that work? Sorry, guys. Okay. I wanted to get this set up because I had to fix something on my phone. Sorry, guys. All right. So what I wanted to say is this. Your presentation to the website, to the business owner about a website goes far beyond just ordering online, because there's a lot of things that they're going to need a website for. They're probably answering the phone every day, answering the same questions. They are probably struggling to figure out, well, if we do marketing or advertising or promotions or text messages or anything like that, where are we sending people? Like, is it just to order online? No, it's to get the full picture of what the restaurant's all about. When they're relying on third parties like Grubhub and Uber Eats and whatever else as their core online presence, that is stuff that's ultimately out of their control. Like, what if something happens with one of those listings? What if their prices all of a sudden are updated incorrectly? What if, one thing to consider too is that people want a choice of where to order from. Where else are they going to have that choice? If you have it on your website, hey, look, here are the different ways you can order from us online. That's like a very, very important reason. That's a key reason to have a website, because you're giving people the option instead of just relying on them to go to those ordering sites and stumble upon your brand there. All right, other questions that have come through, and I promise I'll get to everyone who is here right now. What to do when a customer doesn't want to continue with website services. We do not transfer access, website, or hosting login credentials. We just transfer domain name so they can build a new website with someone else. That's exactly right, Tammy. That's exactly what would happen. And that's exactly what most other businesses would do as well, most of their agencies. Because ultimately, here's the deal. If someone wants to move away from you, it's likely because they are ready for a different experience entirely, like an entirely different experience. It is so rare and so uncommon that someone will switch to a different agency and says, I want exactly my site exactly the way it was, and I just want to switch. It almost never happens. So the likelihood, like, unless you're being a terrible person to them, that is a very, very rare instance. So it is totally, totally common for if and when the relationship ends, for you to give them their domain name and for them to go their own way and get their site rebuilt and remanaged with somebody else. Because here's the deal. I have never taken on a website client from a different platform. Never. I've always insisted on rebuilding it myself. Why? Because I'm comfortable building sites the way I like to build them. And they're going to say the same thing. They start taking a site to a different agency. What are they going to say? Whoa, whoa, whoa. We build our sites the way we build them, and that's how we manage them. So we're going to need to rebuild it anyway. All right. Tammy is here and is asking a few questions. Number one, should I have a signed agreement for services and for automatic payment approval? I currently do not. You know, Tammy, I've never, ever, ever gotten a signed agreement for services for a website, ever. And I've sold a lot of websites. I don't think you're missing out. Do you want to feel 100% totally, perfect about the situation? Use our website design contract sample, modify it as you see fit, have them sign off on it if you want to be 1,000,000% compliant. But I don't think you're really risking very much by not. In fact, they are risking more than you are by not having an agreement in writing. You also asked about pop-ups. I mentioned that already. Can we have an email form in the hero section of the homepage? Yes. So it's a relatively new feature that we rolled out. So I'll just take you through that real quick. So I know what you're asking. You're like, hey, what if I have a, solar company or a roofing company, whatever, like one of those like big ticket companies where each deal is like 10 grand. They want to collect the information right up front to be able to service the client. So what you can do, and I'm not sure if I have a good example ready to go right away, but you can modify the layout of the email form post type. And you can do it in such a way where you can have it right justified. Let me show you what I mean. So I can take this email form and I can click edit and I can go to my style and modify the layout so that it's going to be justified on the right with text on the left. I can even throw a box around it so that I have a little bit of separation between the form and the content to the left of it. So this is something you can do. Just simply pop this up to the top, make it the hero image, so to speak. You can have a background image behind it. You can do all that fun stuff with it. So this is relatively new and something you can do right away. You then asked under settings where it asks for social sharing image. What do we put there? I will tell you. So you're talking about the Pages tab right here, social sharing image. So I'll tell you why this is cool. Have you guys ever sent a text message to someone with the link to a website in it? And have you noticed that it just has a, can I actually show an example of this somehow? Let me see. No, I don't think I can. All right. So what's going to happen is that when you send a text message or do something in like Facebook Messenger or even emails nowadays, it's going to automatically create a link out of it. Instead of showing the text, they create a link out of it. And if an image is available, it will insert that into it. Let me see if I can show you a quick example. Long story short is that if you utilize this feature and upload an image here, you are going to find that any link that you send to someone, instead of it just being a text link or blah, 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 plain link, it's going to be a pretty link. Let me show you one example real quick. I'm going to screenshot a text message. And by the way, I'm going to do a video on this because this is another situation. It's now the 5th time that I have successfully sold a website to a business after getting them set up with a free business directory listing on a business directory website that I run. The 5th time. So I created a free listing for them and then told them about it. Later, they came back asking about a website, built them a website, sold them a website. So in this scenario, what you'll do is when you're texting someone a link to the site, you can choose which image appears here. And that's really cool. because it allows you to be able to just look a lot more professional and make this link a lot more inviting to click on. All you have to do is click this, find an image in your library that makes sense, and then when you send this off to someone, you will be able to see whatever that image is in the text. Okay? All you have to do is select it, click OK, save your changes, your work is done. Really, really cool. All right, let's get to the questions you guys are asking me live right now so that we can go through this. All right. Sean says, how do I make a moving video background for my websites? My customer has had it previously and would love to have that feature again. Okay. Sean, that's a relatively easy thing to do, and let's show you how it's done. So let's take, I don't know, let's take this post, for example. Let's head over. What kind of client is it, Sean? Well, I'm not going to bother asking. We're going to go to YouTube, which is always a dangerous thing when we are live because you never know what you're going to find. But let's do a landscaping video, shall we? Whatever. Let's just choose one of these. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to. What did it do? Take an ad? I just clicked on an ad by accident. Let's say it's. I don't know. I don't know why you video, but whatever. So we're going to go and find, where was I? Over here and go edit. And then we are going to modify the background to instead have a video instead of an image. How do we do that? First, you click remove image. Then you click add video. You put in the URL for the video. And then it is going to, after you click OK, pull that video into the background so that a video is actually playing behind your post. So that's how you would handle that. We do have an article on this as well if you want to follow those step-by-step instructions. Tom says, take me through the development to production process. Cheap and easy, etc. What? Through the development to production process. So what I guess you're telling me is that you've sold a site, they don't have a domain name, and you want to get their site launched. I would highly recommend you take a look at our training video, which is all about this. It's about onboarding clients, launching the site. So it's a relatively simple process that starts with populating the rest of the sites with content. Now, usually when you're showing off a website to someone, you're hiding all the content, all the interior pages. Reason for that is that when it comes time to show this off, you don't want to communicate that the entire site's already done, because then that minimizes the, I'm going to say, the work or the value you might be applying to that setup fee. So it's always wise to hide interior page content when you're showing off that homepage design. So you're going to want to show all these interior page content, modify whatever needs to be modified, and then you're going to go to your settings tab and pop in the domain name. If they don't have a domain name, you're going to go to someone like cheapandeasydomains.com. This is a link from the resources section of our dashboard as well. Right over here. Right over here. And then you're going to find, here's the deal, find 3 domain names. Find 3, not 1, not 2, not 17, 3. And you're going to say, which of these 3 do you like the best? They're always going to pick the same one that you think is best, but let them think they have an option. If they already have a domain name, get their login information, point it live. Do not make this go more than 1 week. What you will do is, if you get the sense that your client is very particular and very controlling, you will want to send them a link to have them do a final review before you launch the site. My recommendation is to say, I'm launching the site tomorrow. Please take a quick look and let me know if there are any glaring changes before I do, because we are not waiting around 2 weeks to get this site launched. If you get the feeling your client doesn't give a hoot, is willing to go with the flow at anything, you launch the site first and then send them the link and say, great news, your site is live. Take a look and let me know if anything needs to get modified. We can make changes at any time. That's it. David says, once we make a demo site using a theme, can we go into existing demos and change the theme? And if yes, where do we do this? Or do we have to? So you can't change themes for websites that are already created. Why is that? because each and every one of our themes is unique in the sense that there is unique images, there's unique content, there's unique posts, there's unique everything. So to be able to go from a landscaping theme to a construction theme or to a dentist theme just doesn't make sense. Plus, all the instances of the business name that are injected into the content are going to be modified as well, or need to be modified on a one-off basis. So if you are looking to repurpose a site for somebody else, the best thing to do is to delete the site, start fresh with a new site and the new theme you actually do want. Ryan says, I'd love to learn more about how to properly set up the back end of the site. I think that was from before. Again, that checklist, I don't know what else I can tell you unless you can be more specific for me. Ed says, I read the Using Sales Reps resource article. Can you offer greater detail on how to track a sales rep's activity and how to pay them? If this feature isn't inside ideal directories, what ancillary service is recommended to use? Are we mixing up things here? Let me just see. So we're talking about SiteSwan. Yes, we also run ideal directories. That's separate. I can talk a little bit about ideal directories. I don't want to go too deep into features and stuff inside of that. So Ed, if you could just confirm, are we talking about, well, whatever, let's just assume you're talking about SiteSwan, okay? Can you offer greater detail on how to track a sales rep's activity, how to pay them? So when it comes to a sales rep, my biggest recommendation is a self-reporting system. So what you want to do is you want to set up a spreadsheet that tracks all the metrics that you deem are important. So maybe your first metric is the date. Maybe the next metric is the number of calls made in the day. The third metric is the number of people they spoke to. The fourth metric is the number of voicemails, so on and so forth, whatever those things that are important to you are. There's probably only 5 or 6 things total, okay? And of course, how many sales are made. So that self-reporting system is really helpful. Now, if they're using a phone system that you provide, you can double check things like calls made, spot check those on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis to ensure that they're not flubbing the numbers. Obviously, if you're got a sales rep, they're going to be self-motivated because they're probably on some sort of very heavily commission-oriented compensation. So they shouldn't have any interest in forging those numbers because it's all in their best interest. And your best interest is their best interest because you're working as a team here. So it shouldn't be too difficult there. How do you pay them? When it comes to a sales rep with SiteSwan selling a website, my biggest recommendation is to give a portion or even all of the setup fee to them. So what does that do? It does a couple of things. If you are selling sites for like $700, like a few of you said here today, and you can equip your salesperson to close those deals and be rewarded $350 the moment the site launches, that's a pretty serious commission, okay? So, and if they can do 1, 2, or 3 of those a week, we're talking good money here. Now, what doing that kind of thing allows you to do as well is it allows you to give them some freedom and some control over how much they're charging. If you guys have ever done sales before, one thing you know is important is that if you can have control over making tweaks to the setup fee in the flesh, in the moment when you're talking to someone, it could enable you to close more deals. One thing that, if Ricky's here today, Ricky and I were talking about this yesterday. Ricky, are you here? Let's see. Ricky is not here. So Ricky is relatively new to our platform, and he's got 7 sites. He's been with us for 36 days. Really great number. And what he said is he picked up from the video that we have with Gary. If you guys haven't seen that, go to our YouTube. Gary is from Texas, and he got off to a fast start as well. And what Ricky's doing is he's using the term manageable. And that's a very, I think, strong approach to take. He'll say, hey, so I see you like the site. Our prices are $6.99 up front and whatever it is, $89 a month. Is that manageable for you? And that phrasing it that way allows people, first of all, to, I think, be a little bit more honest if it is too much for them. And if it's not, they'll say yes. You already have the yes right there. Like that's your yes to the deal. If they hesitate or say no, they'll probably come back to you with what is manageable for them. So you don't have to have this back and forth guessing game of, well, would this number work for you? Would that number work for you? So you don't have that push and pull. Using that phrase, is this manageable for you, will often get you to what they're willing to spend right away. So I think it's a great tip. I would love for you guys to practice using that. And so back to my point, your salesperson, if they have the ability to control the setup fee, they are directly controlling their commission as well. And they might be very willing to forego the full commission to know that they're just getting the deal. Whether you're doing 25%, 50%, or even 100% of that setup fee is up to you. The more you motivate them, the more sales they're going to close, obviously, especially if they're hungry. The only risk with having a really hefty commission is that they might be like, well, I made my one deal for the week. I'm done. And then they're slacking off. So there are pros and cons of going too high on that commission if they don't have the right mindset and if they're not aggressive enough. All right. Emmy is saying, oh, wait, did I skip over a couple? Uh-oh. These questions are coming in so fast, I think I'm skipping over them. I did. Troy, I'm sorry, I skipped over yours. Did I? No, I didn't. Troy, I'm up to you. All right. Do you think it's a good idea to focus on growing the blog on our marketing website as a way to rank for keywords on Google and drive traffic to the site? I'm not going to say no, Troy, but I will say that the most effective way to get ramped up, get those clients coming in, is to do outreach. Follow the 14-day launch plan. Don't know what it is? Resources section of your dashboard. The 14-day launch plan is your ticket to daily activities that are optimized to get your sites sold. If you go through it, I will be shocked if you don't close some deals. I will be shocked. So spend the time that you would be writing doing outreach. If you're finding yourself at 3 a.m. and that's the only time you can devote to this, send out emails. You don't have to call. Send out emails. Connect on social media. Do stuff like that. And if you're fresh out of ideas there, then okay, then turn to the blog and start doing some content creation. I'm never going to say don't do it, but if your goal is, to get X number of sites sold in a specific amount of time, which you better have a goal like that, then your time is best spent doing the outreach, getting clients onboarded. Lisa says, will some customers ask if our sites are WordPress sites? If so, how do we answer that? I don't know. Will they? Lisa, it might come up. It might. What's the answer? No, it's not. It's better than WordPress. Barry says, does a customer who wants to change their own site get access to the same user interface we get from our dashboard? Does the customer who wants to change their own site get access to the same user interface we get from our dashboard? If not, how can I see what their interface looks like? Great question, Barry. So when you're setting up login access for one of your clients, you are going to be able to grant them very specific controls. So you can determine exactly what they can and cannot do. They will never, no matter what, ever see this dashboard. They will have no access to it under any circumstances. What they will see are the things that you can see when you're editing the site itself. So like when you're in here managing the site, these are the things that they can see, and I'll show you how you can modify or control exactly what they can see. So if I'm going into any of these sites, I'm going to set up a site owner access. And when I set up site owner access, let me just pull up the article for that too, because we do specifically spell out exactly what you can do. Okay. When you're setting up a site owner, which you can do from site details, we give you the option to specify exactly what their permissions are, and they're all spelled out here. So you can see exactly what they do. What do I usually do? When I'm granting access to someone, I am generally only, actually, I'm not gonna be able to get to this right now. I gotta add an email first and then do it. So when I set up an login access for a client, what I generally like to do is I only give them access to editing the site itself. I do not give them access to layout or design or pages or settings. I will leave stats on sometimes. So I'll give them access to stats and I'll let them edit the site, and that's it. That's my recommendation. Don't let them see this other stuff. And by default, that stuff is turned off. Renee said, how did SiteSwan get its name? So we launched in 2011. And at the time, there were a lot of arbitrary names for softwares. And we were looking for something that kind of jived, that sounded good. And we were also kind of fascinated by something very interesting about swans. I'm not sure if you know this, but when they find a mate, they mate for life. They never separate. So one of the things that we had in terms of our vision for our company was to forge relationships with people that do not break. And I'll tell you, we signed up a lot of people in our very first year who are still with us. A lot. There's a lot of people who came on board when we were first. I mean, you don't even want to know what this platform looked like back then. Holy cow. We had one layout option. You couldn't change the text size, the text color. There was a font size for the title and a font size for the paragraph text, and that was it. It was we had no themes. It was a totally different animal then. But that's something that we're committed to, is building these relationships and harvesting them and keeping them going for forever. Averial said, are we able to change the style of the footer of the sites? All right, I get it. You guys don't like the footer design. I get it. We're working on it. I promise. By the way, we just did this one thing. We're now, not sure if you guys noticed this, but take a look. From the design tab, for those of you who've been longer than 2 weeks on board, we used to have like a whole big colors thing over here with a bunch of different colors you can control throughout the site. We move those around. So like the footer colors, for example, are now editable down here. So you just go here, click on style, and here are your 3 colors associated with the footer. So in case you're looking for those, that's where you can find it. In the future, you're going to have some layout options for the footer. We've got some specced out. They're going to look nicer, I promise. David says, is there a pickleball theme coming soon? Is there a way to create coupons for a business on their page? Wow, I love it. So David, I don't know exactly what themes are in the works. I'm lying. I do. I do know. But pickleball is not one of them. Now, if you, it just isn't. I don't know. If you want pickleball to be one of them, we offer a custom theme design, which is, what does that mean? So obviously, guys, we're always putting out new themes. We put out like 2 or more themes every single week. You guys give us a lot of theme requests, a lot, and we love that. And we're committed to keeping up the pace and continuing to pump out beautiful themes for you to use. But we can't get to all the requests quickly. So if you want to move your request to the top of the line, it's normally $250. We're doing it for $99 right now. So $99, you push your request to the very top of the list. We'll have it done in about a week. So if you feel there's opportunities for pickleball, and you're willing to put down $99, we're willing to prioritize it and get it done fast. I know what you're going to say. Well, if I'm paying for it, everyone gets to use it? Yes. Just the same way that people who have paid for other themes, you can now use. Like, for example, I'm not sure if the person who paid for it is here right now, but the most recent one that was requested and paid for was our epoxy theme, floor epoxy theme. Like, it was on the list, and we're like, I don't know, maybe there's an opportunity there. It seems like, and they're like, no, there is. They paid their $99, and now guess what? Everyone has access to it. They saw an opportunity. So same thing here. If you got something you really, really want, communicate in our support section. Tell us, hey, I want this theme. I'm willing to spend the money. We'll get it going ASAP. Can you create coupons for a business on their page? Yeah. We have a coupon post type. You just got to find it. It's there. I promise. Look, right over here. Is it my favorite post type? No, but it's there. All right. Troy says, what should we say to customers that say they had a website before, but it wasn't bringing them any business? So, Troy, it's an unusual objection to have, but I mean, it seems like a very straightforward answer. They were not doing a good job for you. It sounds like your previous provider was not doing their job to make sure that you were having the best possible success with the site. And you could go on to say, look, I don't see any reason why a site for industry name in city and state would have any difficulty ranking on a platform, on our platform. So you can say, look, if I built a site for you to get you search traffic for this term in this city and state, I am not worried at all about getting results. Now, the question is this, right? Bringing them any business. That's kind of a vague term. What do they actually mean by that? Did they not get any phone calls? Did they get crappy phone calls? Did they not get any emails? Did they get weak emails? What exactly does it mean when it says they didn't bring them any business? And also remember, going back to one of the first questions we answered. There is a lot of reasons why businesses need a website. It's not just about bringing them business. We have the document. We spell it out for you. It's looking your best in front of your potential customers, answering questions they have so they don't have to pick up the phone and call you or guess at what the answer is. It's putting your name throwing your hat in the ring for every single search result, for every single search that people are performing for your industry type in your market. It's giving you a hub for any and all marketing that you decide to do in the future. It's giving you a presence online that you own instead of relying on a Facebook page or an Instagram page or whatever else to represent your business. You have full control over it. It's a lot of reasons why people need a website beyond just bringing them business. Meyer says, I see advertisements, I'm assuming online, for adding backlinks. Is this necessary for our SiteSwan sites? So backlinks are a strategy used in search engine optimization. What's a backlink? A backlink is when another site has a link to your client's site or your site on their site, and people click it and go to your site. So the search engines look at that and they say, oh, wow, okay, this site must be important if other people are linking to it. So that's the value that backlinks offer. Buying backlinks generally doesn't do you much good because those sites that people are willing to put backlinks on aren't generally worth anything in terms of their value. The best thing to do for your clients is, which I think you have this, Meyer, set up, no, you don't. I don't know what you do. Maybe you do. Set up an Ideal Directories website. Put together a local business directory website. There's a lot of value in doing that, and you can give them a backlink from the listing you have on the site to their site. Other places you can get that done from the Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce is relatively cheap to join, and they'll give you a link on their site. Any sort of local business networking group, post the URL to Facebook on a regular basis. The search engines do recognize links from social media. Put it in the profile of your Instagram account, stuff like that. Emmy says, the client asked if they could control some of the features since they paid for the service. How do I answer this question? Emmy, are we going back to an earlier question? I'm sorry, I got to remind myself. Let me scroll up. Did you ask me something related to this? Okay. If they can control, they can control some of the features. Yeah, if you want to give them login access, you certainly can. But here's the deal. Why do they want to? If someone asks me for login access to their site, I always say, am I not updating the site fast enough or in the way that you want me to? Is that why you're asking? I want to remind you this is a do it for you service, meaning that you have stuff you want changed on the site. All you have to do is just text me, call me, or email me, and I'll make sure it happens fast. I prefer to make changes because I'm the one who set the site up for you. So I know how best to manipulate the system to get the content you want added in the right way. So unless you are confident that you have a million requests that I can't get to fast enough, and first of all, I'd love to prove that, I'd prefer to just make the changes for you. That's what you're paying me for. So get to the bottom of what makes them feel like they need to. My concern is this, Emmy. They might mess something up, right? I mean, it's kind of hard to mess something up. The system's very intuitive, but now you're going to be like customer support from like, how do I change this? I'm like, well, just let me do it. Like save that for when you're getting overwhelmed by the stuff that the client is asking you to do, and you just want to get this off your plate. Albert says, should I always follow up with potential clients even though I get the runaround? Seems to be the norm, and I haven't heard a no. Albert, they don't want to hurt your feelings. That's what's happening. If people are not telling you no, they're being polite. That's all. You have to read between the lines. It is a no. But it's a no for now. And what you need to figure out, if that's what you're getting on the norm, is what is a better way to dial into a pain point that they have. What is it that you're not able to conjure up this sense of urgency and modify your approach when you're asking for demo/sale? And I also wonder, Albert, are we talking about the demo process, like just get them to agree to a demo, or are we talking about the sales process once you show them the demo? Averiel says, can I play music when a visitor comes to the site without showing where the music's coming from? Don't do it. Whatever you do, don't put music on your site. Can you? Maybe. Don't. Please don't do it. I know you've sold a lot of sites without music. Keep it that way. All right? Hoda says, for my marketing website, is it necessary to specify the location of my agency if I want to create a website for others that do not reside in my area? Is it necessary to specify the location of my agency if I want to create a website for others that do not reside in my area? Okay. So you're saying I don't want to focus locally. I'm focusing on businesses in different areas. I'll say this. Unless you really don't want to have your address or location on your site for privacy purposes, always put it on. Because even though you are not catering to businesses in your immediate area, having your address on your site will help people who are inevitably searching for website design in your area to give them a better chance of finding you. So at the very least, you'll be able to get some clients from the people who are searching for you. Lisa says, do we need to be concerned about the do not call registry when using the prospecting tool? Generally, do not call registry is for individuals and not for businesses. You could definitely research that a little bit further, but that's the last that I knew about that. Tony says, I'm brand new, first hour here. First hour? Literally, you just signed up? Tony, for real? No. You don't mean that literally, do you? Anyway, are we locked into our proprietary themes? If so, how do they gel with quick no-code builders? Would it be smooth transition or learning process? So Tony, these themes are not to be used. They can't be used on different platforms. The themes are dependent and built upon the SiteSwan platform. Dustin says, how do you optimize SEO for multiple cities if you live in a metro area? For example, photographer wants to service Salt Lake City, Lehigh, Provo, Park City, etc. Dustin, the best possible way to do this is to nail down and optimize let me start over. The best way to optimize SEO for multiple cities is first to nail down the optimization for one city. Because ultimately, going back to what I said before, the search engines are paying attention to the physical location of the business. And that is who they are going to recommend for searches when people are conducting photographer in Provo, photographer in Salt Lake City, etc. They are taking into account where the business is physically located. So regardless of how much you talk about those other cities, they are still going to make it very difficult for you to come up in search results for those cities. Because let's be honest, if I'm a photographer in Park City and you're a photographer in Salt Lake City, what gives you the right to come up above me when I'm in Park City for people searching Park City, right? So Google is trying to be very respectful of the geographic parameters of a business and where they're most likely able to service customers in the best possible way. Once you nail down best search results for a specific town or city, then you can start to broaden it. Then you can start to say things like the Salt Lake City area or the Salt Lake City metro area or whatever. And then you bring in mentions of Lehigh and Provo and Park City, etc. You have to nail down the primary town and city first and secure good results before you go into subsequent cities. We're running low on questions. Barry's got a comment. Barry says, "Thank you for giving me a way to defeat age discrimination." Hey, all right. I'm 74. I'm an excellent technical support rep, but I can't get an interview because the only way to conceal your age on your resume is to lie. And I refuse to do that. Wow, Barry. That is heartbreaking. But I love the fact that you've decided to say, screw you, I'm doing something on my own. I think that for the most part, the whole age discrimination is very, very frustrating and totally bogus. Because as I get older, I can't help but appreciate the idea that with age comes wisdom. There are exceptions to that, but for the most part, if you are working to be better, become better, with age comes wisdom. So, if you are of an older generation, I feel like you can help me a lot more than someone who is super young because you got the experience. And you're not necessarily doing this because you need to, it's because you want to. So those two things I think are super important when considering, and I'm just talking about from like a hiring standpoint and from a perception of other people standpoint, like, and for any of you also who are pitching businesses, do not think that because the business owner is of an older generation that they won't get or understand or value the idea of a really great website for their business. Just yesterday, I pitched a cigar shop run by a gentleman who had to be in his mid to late 70s. And he was all about this. He wanted to do the SMS marketing, he wanted to do email marketing, all this stuff. So I think this is a message I think that's very well received, Barry, and I'm glad you chimed in with this because age is just a number, baby. It's just a number. All right, Troy says, if a customer asks what platform I'm using to build a website, should I say SiteSwan? I don't know. I don't love that. Our official recommendation on this is somewhere right here. If a client happens to ask, what platform is my site built on? Here's your answer. We build sites on a proprietary website building platform that only digital agencies like us have access to and is specifically designed for building small business websites. We use Rackspace and AWS to provide reliable, rock-solid hosting, and all of our sites include an SSL certificate and are loaded on a 256-bit encrypted HTTPS connection for added security. That'll shut them up right away. Let's see. We got Emmy. I think this is a continuation from earlier. The client has, okay, so you were talking about, the login thing. Let my clients log in. The client is a rental cart and wanted to get the agreement paper that was sent to their email. Can we do that? Also, can they charge their customer again if they need to, and how do I set that up for them? Emmy, I'm confused. Rental cart wanted to get the agreement paper that was sent to their email. I don't know. I'm trying to understand how this aligns with their website. Emmy, send a support ticket over to us and we'll dig in a little further. David says, can you give an example of resellers that offer basic monthly package versus a higher tier monthly package, including SEO marketing and add-on? Give example of what pricing seems to work best. So, David, your reseller marketing website, if you used what we give you, has a breakdown of different plans on the pricing page so you could understand a basic recommendation for how you might price services that include a level of SEO. Now, SEO, again, is the best way I can describe it is like nailing Jello to a wall. It's very difficult to define exactly what SEO consists of, but I'll tell you one of the most important things about SEO is having really good reviews online, which is why our built-in reputation management system is so attractive to our SiteSwan clients. So what we recommend is that if you're going to talk about the website by itself, standard package is basically inclusive of both of these. And then a great add-on is reputation management, because so many people are looking at reviews online before they're making a decision to visit a business's website. And this can help them make that decision easier. Collecting more reviews can actually increase a business's bottom line by up to 10%, just a half a star increase in their average rating. So this is like the number one thing you can sell to someone for SEO purposes. Renee is saying, any Facebook groups for SiteSwan users so we can chat, share ideas, etc. Not yet, Renee. I know this comes up sometimes. Just to get totally transparent, my biggest concern is this. My biggest concern is that people like you who have found success and are good at things are going to get bogged down by the newbies who want answers to questions they could easily find themselves, or they can easily get by tuning into one of these. I mean, I know that it does go beyond that a little bit, but that's the biggest concern that I have, is that we'll continue to have this situation where our best players are being bombarded by our newest players simply because they don't want to do the work to get the answer themselves. But I'm not going to rule it out as something we'll never do. We just have to come up with a solid plan for how we're going to moderate it. I would love to know if maybe we can, I don't know. I'm not going to say any more about that, but I appreciate you continuing to ask. And the more people who feel like they could really, truly benefit from interacting with other SiteSwan users, and not just because they aren't willing to put in the work, but because they really, truly do want to network and understand each other better, let us know. And I promise that we will not ignore you. Let's see. Any final questions before we wrap up? Averill says, was this a general theme request you submitted to support, or something you wanted to get pushed to the top of the list? So, Averill, if you have a theme you want to get pushed to the top of the list and you are willing to spend the $99, submit the details of it, say, okay to process my card for $99 to get this theme prioritized. Unless we look at it and like, we can't do a theme for this, or whatever, we'll do it and we'll prioritize it and we'll make it happen. To re-answer your question, Avril, about the music, we do not recommend having music on a site as background music when someone visits. It's just not best practice. I sincerely and vehemently recommend against it. Troy says, I noticed on the marketing site given to us that some of the services offered are social media marketing and brand building, etc. Should we charge more for these additional services, and should we actually remove these services from the site and learn these skills before offering them to clients? Troy, let someone ask. Let someone ask. We put it on there because we thought that maybe some people might want to make that available to their clients. But what's the worst case scenario? They'll ask you about it. And then you can say, okay, I'll figure it out. I'll make it happen. Or you say, I'm sorry, we don't have capacity to take on more clients for that service. But the moment we do, I'll let you know. Or I can help you find someone else who does offer that. Sean says, what's the average price of websites going for on the internet? I see prices going everywhere. Yeah, it depends on the market, depends on where it's built, how it's built, lots of things like that. You should not base your pricing on other people's pricing. You have to make sure that the pricing you do is in line with where you need your business to be in terms of your goals that you've set. One of the things I often recommend you doing is setting your goal first and then reverse engineering that to figure out, okay, how many sites do I need to reach that goal? How many sites at this price do I need to reach my goal? So on and so forth. So don't judge your pricing based on what other people are doing, because let's be honest, everyone's offering a different service in some way, shape, or form. Even if you are comparing yourself to another SiteSwan reseller, you are offering a different service that's unique to you, your personality, than anyone else who is using our platform. The tools that are being used do not make the job equivalent. What do I mean? If two different carpenters are given the exact same toolbox and supplies to do the exact same project, I promise you, there will be a difference in the finished result. There will be a difference in the communication that is had with the client. There will be a communication on how long that project is warranted. There will be a lot of differences. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're comparing yourself to others. Let's see. I love this. Jesus is like, effort, service, convenience. That's how you verify your prices. I love it. I love it. All right, cool. Looks like we got all questions answered. Last call. I'll do one more question. If it's a kick butt question, we'll do it. Last call. Otherwise, it is a Friday, so, there's that. Guys, do this for me. Post one key takeaway, please, in the questions tab. Give me one thing that you got from today's session. Whether it was another question you heard, an answer you heard, whatever, motivation of someone else selling sites. Give me one key takeaway from today's session. I'm going to quickly read them because I want to know that you all are getting something out of this so that we continue to do these. We're only going to do these if you guys can benefit from it. If I have overwhelmed you, I want to know that. If I've given you too much information, there is such a thing. I want to know that too. So please, please, please be as openly honest as you can. Tammy says, blah, blah, blah. Love the email form on the homepage, Hero. Nice. Percy appreciated the client access permissions. Ty says, awesome as always. What's up, Ty? We haven't spoken in a while. Likes the $99 for the new theme. Good. Sean says, I love this company. We love you, Sean. Hoda says, I've learned a lot, honestly, today, as I'm a newbie. That's cool. Renee likes the fact that she learned how to use the social sharing image and the video background. Social sharing image is a really kick-butt tool. One of the ways I recommend that you communicate to your client that the site is launched, if you have like a good texting relationship with them, shoot them a text with it. Like, email is good too, but like shoot text, hey, so-and-so, just want to let you know, the site is live. I think it looks awesome. Share this with people. And they just copy and paste that link. It's going to look beautiful. Sending out to all their friends, their family, their coworkers, their spouse, whatever. So that would be highly recommended. Social share option is really awesome. And sometimes what I will do is I will create a special image just for that, which is something you can do. So like sometimes the logo works great, fine. Sometimes a hero image or one of the images you uploaded works great. Sometimes I'll just dive into Canva or something and I'll pop the logo on top of an image like I showed you in my example. That was actually a Canva thing I did. David says, really like the fast-paced coaching sessions and enjoy all your videos you post to YouTube. Nice, David. Appreciate that. Cool. Well, it sounds like everyone got something out of this today, more or less. So that makes me happy. We've gone in over an hour today. Nice. I want to thank you all for being a part of the SiteSwan family. I really mean that. Each and every one of you is very, very important to us. I hope you feel that you are important to us. And if you don't, let us know. Congratulations to everyone who's found success since our last call selling these sites. That is awesome. I want you all to go out into this weekend thinking about what part of the 14-day launch plan you're in. See how you can implement your next day into your weekend. That is often sometimes that people skip over. But just the other day, I heard from someone who was leveraging warm outreach during their 4th of July celebrations. And what do you know? It turned into a website sale. So go out there, talk to people, make stuff happen, sell some sites. We love you all. Have a great rest of your Friday and nice weekend, and we'll see you next time. By the way, this was being recorded, so if you want to stick around and watch anything from the beginning, it's about to start.